everybody. Welcome. If you would please mute your lines. What the wonderful thing about this business is you can work your business from anywhere. And I am working my business right now from a restaurant in Nashville, Tennessee. So that just goes to show you really can't build anywhere. And so my name's Lauren LaHave. Welcome to tonight's YOLO event. YOLO stands for You Only Live Once. So you only live once, so let's go ahead and share as much as we can with as many people as we can. Our YOLO International, we're in 26. Well, now, thanks to our new member, how about this? Our new member from Mexico, we are now we can officially say we're in 27 countries. Woo, give her a big hand. I didn't know that we were there until she jumped on the line. So amazing. We are now officially in 27 countries as of tonight. So very exciting. So my name is Lauren LaHave, and I have been this is my 13th year with the Juice Plus company. I said no for 17 years, those of you that don't know my story. But this isn't about me. This is about you and how we can best serve you to be able to say yes to your life, and be able to help those people that you know, love, and care about. And before we get started, I'd love to just congratulate a couple people that are on the call tonight, and just a couple teams. We have a team in Poland, and that is Carolina just did a boot camp this weekend with over 40 people that she literally took her QNMD bonus and decided to reinvest back into her team. And they had an awesome event. I also wanted to congratulate Eliana and Sylvia, who did an event in Tenerife for their Italian and UK teams. And then I know that the Australians talk about rock stars. I know that Kira can talk a little bit about this, but they just did a blitz. I think they got over 1,000 new partners. Over 1,000 new partners. I know Hazel and Tamara were part of that as well. And so 1,000 new partners, 1,400 plus in just a couple days. Talk about overall commitment and just following a system and supporting each other. That's really what this is about. And that's what tonight is about as well. I want to introduce Kira Love to you. I mean, this woman is all heart. I remember when I first met her in Hamilton Island. I can't even believe it. It was Hamilton Island. And you just get near her and you're just kind of like, man, whatever she got, I want some of that. And so she'll share, she's an amazing mama. She'll share with you a little bit. She was at Master Chef. She was one of the Master Chefs. She's also, her and her team, they've reached the position of 100 Club PMD Plus, one of the fastest in the world. And what I love the most about Kira is she really, we always say that concepts are constant, techniques vary. But I remember when we were in Hamilton Island and she sat, we did a small little breakout room. I can't even believe, Kira, I don't even think there were 250 people at the whole conference.
No, I think it was maybe 180.
Yeah, it was crazy, right? But I remember we went out to a breakout room upstairs, and I remember that she sat in the very front. I'll never forget that. She sat in the very front, and she was really committed to say, what do I really need to do? She was just starting off in the business. She's like, what do I really need to do to be successful in this business? And she understood, once again, that concepts are constant and techniques vary. And she knew that she could bring her own personality to this. She could bring her uniqueness as a mom, and just with her background with regards to nutrition. And she really listened to the basics about doing events, about going wide with your business, of understanding. But more than anything, she knew that was about creating community and creating such an environment that people, that they knew that they were going to be loved and appreciated and knew that they were enough. So Kira, I would love, thank you for being on. I know how busy you are, and you guys are probably so exhausted from this past weekend, but I'd love if you just shared a little bit of your backstory, and I'm just going to let you go with whatever you want to share.
Okay.
So.
Sounds good. Well, I believe we're talking on my favorite subject today, which is self-igniting your self-belief. So I absolutely love this topic. And It's beautiful that you start with that story of us meeting in Hamilton Island, because that's really where the big shift happened for me. So I will start with that story. It's a perfect segue into what I want to talk about. I think I definitely had a lot of potential in my childhood. And I think that we have a culture, we call it tall poppy syndrome in Australia, where we tear people back down to a level that we feel comfortable with. So there's almost this uncomfortable culture of seeing people shine. And so I learnt very early on to not shine, to not really step into my potential. I associated that with pain. I associated success very early on with pain and disconnection. So I really decided early on that I was going to be just a mum. There was nothing about me that had a businesswoman mentality or identity. And I think consciously almost kept myself, smaller than what I think we're all born here to be, right? And after 8 years, I had a beautiful present mum as a child, and I certainly am so glad that I got to model that. And my girls are my world, and it is the most valuable, thing that I do is being a mother. And I wouldn't change for the world that I was just a mum for those first 8 years. But the truth is, I so lost myself in that role. And every single year that went by that I didn't have a passion and purpose outside of my kids, my light got even more dark. And I just wasn't experiencing a lot of joy and fulfillment within me. And I think so many women are challenged by that. They're searching for happiness outside of themselves, and it starts from within. And I think it starts from being willing to shine and step into your greatness, and knowing what your gifts are and believing in them and sharing them with the world. So I was not doing that. And I had joined this business a year before I met Lauren at Hamilton Island. I'd just come out of MasterChef, which was the biggest out of my comfort zone experience. So I just faced some huge fears. Everything about this business was outside my comfort zone, but it was probably the next stepping stone from what I'd just experienced. I was incredibly shy and introverted, so you can imagine that almost everything about this business was not what I wanted to do or that I felt comfortable doing. And I was definitely because I was in a lot of internal struggle in my life, often when we're in that phase or that vibration, we tend to do a lot of blaming, shaming, and justifying. So for the first year in my business, I looked for every reason to blame and shame my upline, the company, all of the reasons why, and in myself, why I couldn't make this work. A year on, my partner at the time was killing it in this business, and it was changing our life. And I definitely had some customers, and I was really good at that because I love one-to-one interaction. I was already in the health and fitness industry. I'd been on the product for 3 years. So the one-to-one customer stuff I was doing a good job at, but as you know, you can't make your greatest impact or grow a team just by you doing customers. So I was at the third level, I was at SC, but not really, not really setting things on fire. And I was at Hamilton Island, and I'll never forget the moment, and it always brings me to tears to think about it. But we were at an event where we were acknowledging people in our team. And I remember that I went to step up to do some acknowledgement. And then the natural kind of way for the people around me is that I don't talk. They're used to me not talking. And so someone stepped up for me and spoke for me. And it was like something snapped inside my being in that moment. And I just felt this internal rage, like it was so audible on the inside. And I remember going back to the hotel room and just crying my eyes out with frustration, because I love the saying that if you get a chance to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I love that saying because for so many years, I realized that I was putting myself on the sideline and I was watching everybody else dance with life. I was watching all these people around me that I knew and loved just shine and make an impact and really just embrace their potential and run with it. And I was holding myself back with all of these fears and all of these BS stories. So something shifted in my being in that at that conference, and that's why conference is so important. And I came back a changed person. And I remember sitting with another dear friend and sharing the experience with her, and I still had a lot of internal struggle in that moment, even though I'd had that shift. And she looked at me and she said, because I was so used to being so small and insignificant compared to the greatness around me, and she said, be so loud they can't ignore you. And that became my mantra for the next 12 months. I reckon I said that in my head 50 times a day. Be so loud they can't ignore me. And it wasn't to gain significance, like, look at me, look at what I can do. I really truly believe it was to show myself what I was capable of. And so every day that, you know, and the other thing that happened in that moment is I shifted from somewhat committed to 100% all in committed to success. What happens when you're dipping your toe in, or you're wishing and you're hoping and you're waiting and you're just going to see what happens and you're 99% committed? That certainty is so unattractive and incongruent to people coming and joining your business. When I decided to be all in, I still had all the same limiting beliefs. I still had the same level of leadership skills. I still had no idea how I was going to create success. But the difference is when you're all in, when you hit the challenges, which you will, because nothing worth doing is without challenge. Challenge is where the growth is. Challenge is where the magic happens. And of course, you're building an incredible empire. There's going to be challenge and growth along the way. And when you expect it, then you're not derailed when it happens, right? So there you go. There's your first lesson. Expect challenge. Don't allow it to derail you when it comes along. But when you're committed to your own personal growth and your success, when you meet head on with the challenge, you ask yourself better quality questions. Rather than quitting because it got tough for a second, you find a way under it, around it, over it, or through it. You ask, you reach out for help, you take self-responsibility. So rather than sitting at home moping and saying, no one sees me, my upline doesn't reach out and check in on me, you're so freaking loud they can't ignore you, right? That's what I'm excited to work with people who are loud. I can't ignore them. They're in my inbox asking for help. That ignites my energy. I don't want to drag people up the mountain. I'm running. I don't have time to drag. I will walk with people who want to walk. I will run with people who want to run, but I will not carry someone up the mountain. So you have to make that decision within yourself that your success is your responsibility. You may still have the inner noise, the challenge, the belief stuff that you're going to work a lot with along the way. And we're going to work through that, and your leadership will help you work through that. But make the decision to be all in. So that conference was when I made the decision, and I went from SC, and I don't even know if I was like 2 club to QNMD 12 club in 2 months. And then 2 months later, I was 3 months later, I was NMD 39 club. And then that was January. And then June, I was 100 club. So that's how big that is.
And you know what I love it? You know what I love about it too, Kira, is that one of your first partners was a mom who had just had a newborn baby, right? I mean, where was she pregnant? Was Erin pregnant at the time? I mean, it wasn't just
Erin,
about you.
Yeah.
I mean, I just remember Erin was, I forgot, where were we? Erin was either pregnant or just had a baby.
Yeah,
she had just had a baby. And maybe, because what I really want people to hear is, like, for you, there was no excuses. And then your energy really put that out there to everybody that was joining, right? Yeah. I mean, because I think she went 12 club really quickly too, as well, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, because she saw you not have any excuses about that. So what got you, let's talk about that belief a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, because like you said, like, you're the only person that's holding you back with regards to that. What was it that when you had that moment, right? When you had that moment, what got you to really make that's it, like a line in the sand, and you couldn't even go back to that old story? What was it?
It was that enough is enough moment. When is enough enough? When is there enough pain in your life? I had substantial financial pain and substantial internal turmoil, because we're on this planet to expand. And some of you are just choosing to stand still. And I know when I was standing still, I was actually sliding backwards, because every single time you commit to yourself and then not show up, your self-belief plummets, and it compounds over time. So the more that you keep making a commitment and then not showing up for yourself, your self-belief declines over time. I had my enough is enough moment. It is time to get out of my own way. When you quieten the noise, and one of the most beautiful things a coach ever said to me is, at a really challenging time in my life where the noise got really loud again and threatened to take over, he said, the inner bitch, whatever you want to call it, right? You can give her a name. She's always going to be there. Expect her. When you can expect it, you change the relationship with it. So no longer was I attached or in rapport and relationship with what she had to say, right? We all have the noise. I have the noise as much as you have the noise. I just have a different relationship with it now. And, you know, sometimes she serves a purpose. Sometimes she keeps me safe and makes me question my judgment. But for the most part, she needs to shut the hell up and get out of the way, right? But when you understand that, you come to know that you're listening to the noise. And I think all of you know, if you are honest with yourself, because I would ask some of you now to give me a list of your superpowers and what's amazing about you and what are your gifts. And even at the beginning, for Lauren to, you know, go into this beautiful Kira's this and that, you know, I would have been humiliated 6 years ago to sit there and listen to that. Whereas now I'm like, yeah, bring it. Yeah, I'm going to accept that. Thanks. Like, you know, and that's part of self-belief and confidence, is to be able to acknowledge a compliment and accept it, right? So, and being able to acknowledge it in yourself. And I know so many of you would be, you know, the Debbie Downers, like, oh, there's nothing good about myself. You know, that's BS. You know, that's not true. And when you, and that's why I love meditation, because when you quieten the noise, you access or come into alignment with your true self, and you have an inner knowing that you are worthy. First of all, you are worthy. And second of all, you are capable of so much more than what you're putting on the table. And, you know, you're worthy just by being born into this world. I'm worthy. I feel so worthy and congruent with the success that I've created in this business, because I know that I've worked for it. I know that I've served for it, and I know what my vision is for the future. And I just know that I am worthy. And it's not going to come into your life until you find that alignment. But again, it's self-responsibility. Resource yourself. That isn't going to change overnight. And to answer your question, Lauren, I would say that I realized that action is the only way to get out of doubt. Action is the only way to build confidence. I was sitting on my hands for years, waiting to feel confident, waiting to feel inspired, waiting to see what my passion is in life, waiting to feel some self-worth, and waiting to find my voice. You will just perpetuate that cycle. You will not create a shift with that mentality. You have to take a step outside your comfort zone in order to grow. It's the only way you're going to build on your belief, is to work that muscle. And that's what I love about our compensation plan. And this is what allowed me to create the success I did, is that when I decided to be successful, I still didn't have the vision mindset and the confidence of a lot of leaders that were in the company doing well already. But it allowed me to approach it one step at a time, to just look at what is in front of me right now. That is in the realm of my possibility. NMD 39 Club wasn't in the realm of my belief system when I had that shift. It just wasn't. And even though it only happened 6 months on, I needed the stepping stones on that way to have that belief, to have those leadership skills, to, you know, be able to stay grounded in that, and that vision for going beyond that. So that's, you know, you just want to chunk it down to what action can I take today, and actually take the action. Otherwise,
and well, Kira, what I wanted to acknowledge about you, though, because there's a lot of things I'd love to acknowledge about you. One is you really followed a tried and proven system. You didn't try to create a new system. You, I think, I shared this with you wherever we were. I can't even remember where we were last time when we were doing that breakout session, and somebody was talking, and you and I were just talking about going wide and the importance of going wide within your business, right? I think that you went, how wide did you go in that beginning? Because that gave you an opportunity to get to 39 Club quicker. I mean, you were focused on who could you get qualified, who could you get to 3 Club, right? Who could you get to make sure they had a good, strong, customer and distributor base. I mean, you were and you're very consistent. I mean, you followed the system. Could you talk a little bit, because I watch you, you know, I Facebook stalk you, and Instagram stalk you. I stalk you everywhere. And, but why? Because to model you, right? To model all the great things that you do, but you've done it from the very beginning, right? So what, would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think this business only works if you make it duplicatable. And if I see it, if there's a diamond in my business and I just know that they're a diamond and they've already got the belief, but they're not growing, it's probably because they're not being teachable. And that's the other thing that happened in that shift that I had, is I realized I had to become teachable, because for the year previous, I wasn't getting on team training. I wasn't listening to the things I was supposed to listen to. If you can have we all have our unique gifts and skills, and you should definitely layer those on to the basics when you learn the basics. Because if you can't, it doesn't matter who joins your team, they have to be able to duplicate a system that whoever comes in, they're able to take hold of that and run with that and pass that down the line. So if you are, for example, Adam, who's my upline, is such a charismatic person. He's so lovable when you meet him because he's so personable and so great at talking to people. Guess what? That was the opposite of who I was. I've had to learn that skill, and it's still not my natural set point. My natural set point is I just want to sit with my best friend and talk to them, because I'm not extroverted, right? So I actually have to I have to consciously make that decision. I have the skills now. I've learned them because of this business. But for someone like Adam, that comes naturally. So if this business, in order to be successful, you had to be like Adam, then he wouldn't have half the success that he has, because it's such a unique gift and skill that not everybody has. So you've got to follow the system. And I would say look, if I'm all honest with you, I don't have a set DMO, but I guarantee you I do 100 times more than most people. So my thing is just get shit done, just do a lot of stuff, right? But I'm so inspired that I have to almost schedule in my diary to stop working, because I've found that internal driver. So yeah, it's being teachable, going as wide as you can. Definitely that was, I have a very strong, very stable business because I am so wide. And that does allow the duplication to happen faster.
Well, and I think what you said, like, you do it because you're so inspired, right? And it's you, once again, I'm going to go back to Aaron, that it was, you guys were like, you had Adam, who was a good hooker, like I'm a good hooker, right? And you're a good cooker. And, but then you had a running buddy like Aaron, that you guys were these mamas in the trenches together. Am I right about that? It just felt like that.
Yeah, so
much momentum.
I would say if you don't have a buddy directly under, and first of all, my mentality with my team is we're sidelines. I don't look down on anyone. I don't own anyone. I'm not the leader of anyone. We're growing and working together. I think it's so important, and you will allow your team to spread their wings and fly if you have that mentality where there's no expectation, just appreciation, and you meet eye to eye with them. If you don't have a running buddy, then sideline or upline, because the power of having someone who's all in like you definitely is a game changer. It brings more energy, more inspiration, and it gives you a sense of responsibility to show up even when you don't feel like it, because quite often we will show up more for others than we will ourselves. So I had Erin and Jackie, and they were both two of my very first customers. They both got incredible results, and they both reached out to me about the business because I was still being shy and not really doing the business at that stage. And once I got the vision, we really just hooked in together, and we were so consistent in showing up for one another. We did our weekly Mummies on a Mission event. We were growing our self-worth, our belief, and our financial independence together. So collectively, the vulnerability and strength in our story. And that's another thing, is don't underestimate the power of your story right now. I joined this business to make $500 to $1,000 a month. That felt like $1 million to me. I hadn't earned an income for 8 years. I had zero financial independence. I couldn't believe when that first $1,000 hit my bank account. I was mind blown by it. I felt so rich from that, right? It was just as exciting as my check today, and I can tell you it's a lot juicier today. But it's like, it was so mind blowing to me. So own that, share like that extra $200, $300 a month. For some mums, that means going for coffee with the girls so they don't lose their minds just being at home all day with the kids, and not having to justify it with their partner that they can do that. It might be getting their hair done. I mean, I feel $1 million when I have my hair done. And again, having that opportunity to do that, and to know that I earned it, and even just that inner self-worth, even though the finances were available to me, I just want to make that clear. There was no, like, it's not that I didn't have access to money. it's that inner self-worth, knowing that you made that happen for yourself. And it's the empowerment, the sense of empowerment and safety that comes as a woman when you have your own financial independence. I think it's so important, and it will change your self-worth when you create that for yourself.
There's a great book. It's called Why Men Love Bitches. And it talks about, keeping your pink card. You always need to keep your pink card, bring your income, whether you need it or not, right? Like making sure you do that. I love what you said, too, with regards to, there's a couple of things I think people need to know. We've all had ups and downs in this business. And what you've done, though, because you created such a strong foundation, your check has been stable all of these years, right? Where people aren't wide enough, they don't have the stability that you do. I mean, I see your reports, and I know the stability that's created, for you. Would you, I want to be respectful of your time. We've got a couple more minutes left here. I mean, I could listen to you for hours with regards to that, but maybe just maybe give everybody like one action item that they could do. And then I'd love to know what is, I mean, I know your why's probably changed. My why keeps growing. But what's your why today, and what's one action item you would give everybody to do?
Okay, so my why today, and that ties into the stability of my check, actually. I have had so many incredible life transformations in the 6 years that I've been in this company. And there's so many moments where I feel so deeply and profoundly grateful and blessed for all the gifts that this has given me. And the greatest gift is who I've become as a person, and the joy and light that comes into my life from being of service to others, and realizing how incredibly important it is to live with that inspiration every single day. And then second to those things would be the financial independence, because I'm now an independent mama, and I grew up with an independent mum. And I actually did a coaching call last week with my coach and uncovered this story and this experience of when I was a child. And I was only about 6 or 7, and I would come home every evening with my brother, and we'd be alone because my mum would be working a cleaning job, a job that she hated. Some people love that, but for her, I knew that it was just soul destroying for her to have to do that. And we lived in housing commission. And she did such an amazing job. She sacrificed so much for us. But I realized that I lived with this fear since then, to lose my independence, to lose my freedom, and to not have a choice. And of course, the universe has a funny way of confronting you with your fears. So my greatest fear in life was to be an independent mum. And because of this business, I have kicked butt all over that fear so greatly that I've never felt more free and happy and strong in all my life. I almost feel invincible, because it's like, right, I've done my greatest fear now. Now I can just enjoy life. But now I feel I can tell you, and it's not in a heavy way, but I feel such a deep sense of responsibility. Like, there are moments where, like, I had to really I didn't completely take a year off, but I had a lot of healing and growing to do when that first happened. And my income it didn't change, even though I had to take that time out for my family. And there's so many moments where I just couldn't believe it. And although I was inspired by this business and empowering women to find their voice, now it's just a whole nother level of contribution and service, and why I really just believe that women need financial independence. It doesn't matter what their current life situation is. You don't know what happens tomorrow, and you don't know what events happen tomorrow where, that providing that is on your shoulders. And just from having that financial independence, it does tie into your self-worth. Your net worth does equal your self-worth. And I just feel so overcome with gratitude some moments, that I know that I have to just continue passing this on. It's the only way that I feel. It's not that I don't feel worthy, but that's how I truly feel at peace with how much I've been given, is to give that away to others. So that's
it's so crazy in a weird way. I remember our conversation a year ago, and I just it's kind of like, you want people to really get that they're going to be all right. But I remember being on the phone with you, and I'm like, girl, it's going to be all right. Like, I'm so, I just remember, I'm like remembering exactly where I was. I don't need to, I remember I was at the, there's like a discount mall, some in Brisbane, and my plane was like hours later. And I remember talking to you at that mall in the bra shop. And I just remember, that you were willing to go through it all, right? You weren't going to make it. You even said it. You go, you know what? I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to get through this. I think everybody needs to remember that with that belief and that big why and that knowingness that you can, and that you have had that opportunity to heal while you still empowered. But I love that you say that you're not an upline to somebody, you're really that sideline, working side by side. Kira, you are just amazing. I'm so beyond proud of you, of how you just, how you show up, and how you've, your vulnerability. And, okay, so one final thing, kick them in the ass a little bit. Tell them why it's not okay just to dilly-dally in this business.
Well, first of all, it's not bloody about you. Get out of your own way. When you're up in your head, you are so self-centered. You are so focused on self. Get over yourself. You are holding back an incredible gift. This business and this product is life-changing. Get out of your own damn way, because you're in the way of other people transforming their life. When you drop out of your head and into your heart, that's when you can show up and get, out of those belief BS stories and actually be of service and be in your greatness. And when you're doing this for others, it gives you more of a reason to do that. The other thing I would say is you've got to get rid of the excuses. They're not serving you. You get to choose your beliefs. And I can tell you a lot of your beliefs right now are not serving you, but you're clinging to them because they make you feel comfortable, but they're not allowing you to grow. I want to acknowledge Erin, who we've spoken about, and she's on here. She is honestly the most no excuses woman I think I've ever met in my life. Like, I remember we had our weekly call. Nothing drives me mad more than a mother saying, I can't get on team training. We're eating dinner at that time. It's like, okay, well, I hope you have great dinners for the rest of your life, but your life isn't going to change, right? It's one night a week. I know you said give it to them straight, right? I've got 2 kids too, and I need to feed them, bath them, and get them to bed too. It's right. All excuses are equal. It's just what's important to you. I have so much time freedom now because I was willing to make those sacrifices that I make up for that with my kids. I have a cleaner clean my house 9 hours a week because I can play with my kids instead of clean my house now. Like, they're the choices that you have when you step up for yourself and you do this for your family. You're going to get more time back. Erin gave birth, right? We used to do our weekly event every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Erin gave birth, I'm pretty sure it was on the Monday, and I said, Erin, you can take 1 week off. It's okay, right? That's the level of commitment of no excuses. We never let each other down. If we say we're going to show up, we show up. We commit week after week. I can count on one hand how many team trainings I've missed, and it's because I'm in an aeroplane and there's no physical way for me to get on the team training. So if you can't bare minimum show up for 1 hour a week to build your dreams, then nothing's going to change for you. And you're going to get 5 years on and look back and wish that you had have committed. Because right now, if you do nothing different, then in 5 years' time, your life is going to look the same. And to me, that you might feel okay about that. To me, that's a tragedy, because you're here to expand and grow, and you're here to be of greater service to the world. And when you get out of self-suffering and when you get out of survival mode financially, you will have so much more to give of yourself, your resources, and your time. And I believe that is all of our purposes. We have different missions, but everyone's purpose on this planet is to be of service.
Amazing. So great. Okay, well, I'm asking you one other thing to talk about, if you don't mind, and then I promise I'll let you go. I think that, like, once again, I love to talk about plugging into the mothership. You guys have created a great mothership, and so has Cheryl. And, years ago, we had a lot of people, like about 400 people plugging into our to our weekly call, or this training right now. I'd love to get that number back up, because we have thousands and thousands of people throughout the United States, and bringing in the best speakers I can. Can you talk about why that's so important, especially when you're and SC and you know, QSC and SC and SSC of why that's so important? Because I know you guys still have hundreds of people on those trainings.
Yeah, oh, there's so many reasons. The basic level is stay close to the fire. Your inspiration won't continue to burn bright if you walk away from the fire. You have to stay where the warmth is. Not everybody understands this and this mission that we're all on. And you've got to be around people who believe in you and see your greatness and call you to step into your greatness. And people who have already done it, they have the belief, the vision, and the roadmap, right? When you go and spend time with people who don't understand it, who have tall poppy syndrome, who would rather keep you small because it makes them feel better about themselves, you won't grow and you won't step outside your comfort zone to create greatness in your life. You've got to stop being scared of outgrowing people and scared of success, okay? It's up. People can join you if they choose to, right? Don't keep yourself small to be loyal to the people that are around you, right? They're not paying your bills. They're not putting a smile on your face every single day because they're not lighting you up with passion and purpose. So you have to stay close to the fire because there will be challenge and there'll be weeks where you don't know why you're doing this. But then someone will be on training that will say something that will create a shift for you. And the stuff that you learn is life transferable skills. As you grow, your business grows. And there's so much growth that happens on those week-to-week meetings. It's also important for community and building that community, feel for your team. It's important to lead by example. Your team are never going to do what you're not doing yourself. And if your face is not on there, on screen, week after week, in the comments, showing your commitment, then you cannot expect anybody else to believe in your leadership. You're also going to grow your leadership skills by showing up week after week. And you also get that collaboration with sidelines and downlines that's so powerful because of your leverage. You know, I have such a beautiful community. I feel so blessed. All of my frontline work so beautifully together. They're also giving towards one another. And so we have this leverage where we bounce off each other's skills. So it's not all on my shoulders. You know, technology is not my skill, creativity is. So I get to do all the creative stuff that I'm really powerful at. And then I have other team members that take care of things that I just can't do. So if you're not showing up, your team won't, you won't create that bond, that community, you won't create consistency. We have a thing on our team training, it's called the Love Pack, where every week we choose someone, and maybe Lauren, we can do this for your team and I can send a love pack out to the US. So what we do is, okay, so hey Siri, give me a random number. Wait, she's not talking. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 49. So number 34, if you can work out who 34 is while I'm talking, Lauren.
Yeah.
So no one jump off the call or you'll miss out. So just count down the list to number 34. The very first thing, the very first step to creating success is showing up on team training. So we reward and recognize every single week for just doing the basic number one thing. It's not about just rewarding and recognizing when someone hits a promotion. It's about, you know, how can you sow into your team and speak into their greatness and all of the things that they're doing really well. And that starts with that consistency of showing up. So who do you have number 34?
It's Rita. It's Rita from Canada, from Calgary.
Ah, awesome. Rita, if you want to inbox me your address, I just sent off some parcels yesterday to my Canadian team. If you would like to inbox me your address, I will send you out a little love pack.
Nice. I love it. I'm going to start that now too. I was going to give away one of Jay's books. So pick another number so that we can give a Jay book.
Hey Siri, pick a random number between 1 and 49. Number 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Becky Faye. Becky Faye. So
well done for showing up for yourself.
Hey, awesome. Well, this has been amazing. I could listen to you for hours, and I'm so grateful, and I'm beyond proud of you and just who you are and what you stand for and how you lead by doing the do, and just your incredible belief in yourself and the company and everything else. So thank you guys. Good night.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.